Hello, class. How are you all doing? I was just thinking about maybe we'll talk about text sets today. Now, I'm just going to give you a few examples and kind of guide you through Blackboard about where to find the information because I know that's coming up really soon. And it's a good time to start thinking about your text set. And first off, you need to think about is the content. What grade level are you interested in creating your text set? For instance, fourth grade. All right, so I've gotten there. So I need to look at my TEEPs for fourth grade and then come down to my content. Maybe I'm thinking about more of social studies. Okay, so I'm going to look at my TEEPs on the TEA website on my social studies strand for fourth grade. And maybe there's a unit I'm interested in to do a collection for my students. And maybe that could be social studies. How about the Alamo? Okay, that is one of the units. So in fourth grade, we start out with, of course, the regions of Texas and the Native Americans of Texas, and then the Spanish conquistadors, and it all moves through. So each one of those units, you would create your own text set so that you can enhance and embellish what the textbook that your state adopted textbook has to offer. Now, your state adopted textbook becomes your center, kind of like the sun around the planets. Okay, the planets will revolve around the sun. Well, that's the same thing with your text. Your textbook is your sun. It's going to be your anchor. It's going to be where you want your set to support because the textbook doesn't have everything that you possibly would like to have in it. And it also sometimes doesn't even have the appropriate reading levels because in fourth grade, I could have first grade reading levels all the way up to eighth grade or higher of students that have a certain reading level. So I don't want them to just have to all have the same text level, which as soon as you'll be finding out in your reading and you're doing some leveling or finding out the reading levels of your text, even your textbook is designed to be 2 grade levels above the grade they're actually being taught in. So if you have those first and second grade level readers struggling, then how are they going to handle a fourth grade textbook which is designed for sixth grade reading level? So those are some things to think about when you're creating your text set. Okay. So first off, let me share my screen with you very quickly. And when I'm looking at the screen, I'm going to scroll down my Blackboard screen, and when you go to where it talks about text set, and just open that folder. Okay. When I have opening the folder, I have the directives, text feature description, and then the text set rubric. It's always good to look at the rubric to know what you're going to be scoring on. Now, for this video, I'm not going to bore you with going over it, but please click on it. Anytime as a student, you should be looking at the rubric to know how you're going to be scored. And the same thing as a teacher. When you are providing your students with any type of authentic product to have them do, let's say you're going to have them to recreate the Battle of the Alamo or something in a shadow box or a poster or a PowerPoint situation, whatever medium you may choose to use, you need to let your students know how you're going to grade them before they even get started. What are your expectations? Okay, so we do look at that. And then I do have a sample page. Well, let's first look at the set of directives. All right. And it opens up as a Word document. And let me here's some stuff up here. Your text set is going to be, like I said, a collection of texts. And I'll talk about text could also be other forms other than a book, because we have songs that is considered a text. A poem is a text. It could be even a menu is a text, or a coloring book is a text, or some type of website could be a text. Now be careful on websites, it's got to be for the students, not for the teacher. It's not a resource for the teacher. That's something outside. You want everything you're collecting is something your students will use. Now, one of the things you need to also be very mindful a text that is a collection of worksheets is not an appropriate collection for your students. We want to not, we can modify worksheets, true, to make them more interactive, but you don't want that to be something that you're going to just say, okay, here's a text, I'm adding to my text set more worksheets. Believe me, you get plenty of worksheets if that's what you want to have with your state adopted text. All right. So let's look at our format. As first off, you have to tell me what grade level, what subject, what is your topic or theme. So for instance, fourth grade, subject, social studies, and my topic or theme is the Battle of the Alamo. That's what I want to focus on. And then of course your name is on your cover page. Always need to put your name on things. Create a table of contents. It's always good to have a table of contents. Now here it can be to your style. It does not have to be exactly what this is here. This is just an idea, okay? But you always need to have the text that your set covers. For instance, I know for sure it's going to be in the social studies fourth grade text, and it's covering everything. What my set is going to cover is in social studies. But that would be under my major. What about my second discipline? Maybe I can cover math text within the same text set. For instance, maybe one of my books is talking about how far the Mexican army traveled, or about the weather that the whole event took place. Well, that could be science or even math added into that. So depending on the textbooks that you chose or your text, it kind of helps you out. Maybe you're going to have some writing text that you're able to infuse. So I'm just asking for you to have two other disciplines outside of your major discipline. How can you tie them in? Yes, I know secondary guys, you're going to say, I'm just teaching math, I don't need to worry about anything else. But you think about how much more rich, how much richer your instruction will be when you can show how it's interdisciplinary, how you can cross over and even team with your colleagues, the co-teachers that are in your level, and say, hey, I'm teaching this on social studies, how can I help you with your writing? And then infuse that. So right now you're kind of making that plan how that can work, okay? And then the list of strategies we used within the step, in pet text. Okay, you have a list. You started a strategies notebook already. Hopefully you've already halfway through or pretty good with your 4 strategies you need for your vocabulary. But you don't want to use any of the same strategies that you're using in your strategies notebook to be in your text set. None, no duplications. So these are some, in other words, at the end of the semester, you'll have 25 different strategies. You'll have your 16 that are in your strategies notebook. Then you'll have also your 9 that's within our text set. Okay, does that make sense? All right. Then you have your list of strategies, and how you may want to list this like you'll list the strategies in order, by alphabetical order, but you put the page numbers where you can find them in your collection. And yes, page numbers are important. Making page breaks between every page is a good thing, okay? A digital or even when it's hard copy, you don't want to have things merged together all in one, just jumbled into page, okay? So you have your little list of the strategies, and then maybe how the page number where it's found, because some strategies are going to fit better with certain texts, okay? And then you want to list the order of the texts in the set, okay? And you want to classify them by genre, right? So you have your fiction book, for instance. I have a fiction text for it's L is for Lone Star today. There's probably something in here about the Alamo that I might use. It could be, maybe this text is only to introduce and get started. Yes, I know this seems kind of simple, even for fourth grade, but believe me, your students are going to enjoy seeing something that is a picture book. High school loves this too, believe me, I know. High school does it, even adults. We teachers, when we go to workshops, we enjoy hearing something and how from other sources. Maybe, let me see what I have over here. It could be, that I have this text, and it's called The Story of Texas. I may not use this whole entire coloring book because when I thumb through it, it's a collection of coloring pages. Maybe there is only one page that I want to use, like this one here, that I may pull. Remember, just because your collection includes this text doesn't mean you're going to use the whole entire text. You only want to use what's appropriate or applicable to your set that you're creating. Okay? So maybe I'm going to just pull this about. It talks about the March at Goliad, Ron Seguin, Johanna Troutman. Then I have maybe the Revolution. Here's another page. So about the Alamo. So this might be the only thing. And this could be something that of this coloring book, maybe I'm going to use it to create some kind of puppeteer type of situation. So look and see what kind of reading strategies you might want to use with that text. Okay. So, but you're going to classify your text by genre. Is it fiction? And then you need to know, is it nonfiction? Is it fantasy? So look at different genres of text, and don't worry if you think, oh my gosh, this, I don't know if it's nonfiction or fiction. You could do some research on the internet. It'll kind of tell you, contact a librarian. But don't worry, if you think it is fiction and it ends up being nonfiction, that's okay. I could tell you though, like for instance, this one, The Gates of the Alamo, this is a nonfiction novel. This is it's an upper reader novel that I would give to my GP students in fourth grade. Yes, they did read this, but I know that it is that this is fiction based on nonfiction, kind of like a realistic fiction, but still a fiction text, because it has dialogue. And there's no way at the Battle of the Alamo somebody was recording the exact conversation. So anything that has dialogue with quotation marks in it is fiction. Okay. Uh, let's see. A lot of my collection is a lot of nonfiction, fiction type of text that I have here about the Alamo. Okay. And sometimes you can look when you look at the verso page, and the verso page is usually right after the title page. It has the copyright and information on it. And a lot of times you can look over here that says juvenile literature. And it's Alamo, San Antonio, Siege, 1836, juvenile literature. So that's telling me that this is fiction. Okay. And then let me see what I have. Now I have this one, Alamo Defenders. Again, this has about a little bit about every one of the defenders, well, not maybe all of the defenders, because there are 128, but of the major defenders, and it has little information. So I'm going to look at this. I'm trying to think, hey, this one kind of seems like this is nonfiction. And when I look at the verso page, it comes over here, it says Alamo, San Antonio, Siege, 1836, registered, and it has biography. So that right there, it's biography, so it's going to be nonfiction, right? And so that kind of, if you look at what I'm talking about, when you look at the verso page right in here, and you look where how the library, the Library of Congress catalogs these books. That's how you can help tell yourself what kind of book, and you can even get its genre a lot of times out of that. So you're going to now, when we go back over, you're going to list your peaks, your content peaks, like your major content, and then your two disciplines other than social studies. So if I'm thinking math, I'm thinking social science, that's a unit, or writing. Maybe some help, because there's one of the Voices of the Alamo over here. It talks about how the Mexican army, the men, had walked thousands of miles to get here, and a lot of them were barefoot, and it was snowing when they got to San Antonio in March. Texas weather, right? So it could be about the health. It's how you want to tie this in, right? And of course, your text set is going to be initially a nice start collection, but as you teach and you go through this every year with your students, you're going to find ways to tweak it and make this text set even work better for you across a lot of disciplines, and you'll be adding to it constantly. Like I said, it could be a menu. It could be a song as part of your text collection. Okay? And remember let me go back over here. Remember we had strategies that we listed them. But then now when we're classifying under genre and the title of text, well, what strategy? Now this kind of seems repetitive, and it's okay if you don't want to do this. If you want to list the strategies and make the text connection there, that's fine. You can leave the strategy off here and just put the genre and then list the books under that genre. For instance, fiction, you list your books, and it could be then biography, list your books, non-fiction, list your books. If it's fantasy, list your books. Okay. And then your textbook, your state, and I don't have one to have in my hand to show you, but your state adopted textbook is one that will be listed as your text. I mean, that's your center one, and you want to document it. Now, that one you do not need to use a strategy list, because in reality, you have 10 texts. One is going to be your state adopted text, and then the other 9 will be those planets circling around it. Okay, think of that. I know Pluto's not a planet, so they say, but I'm still going to keep it there. But we have your 9 texts floating around your center part of your text state adopted. Okay, your state adopted textbook. All right, on each page, now we have each page. You want a picture of the text. You want the reading level. Sometimes you can, you'll know what the reading level is by when you Google it, it'll tell you the Lexile level. But you also can do, you could type in, you could go to, I'll have to show you the website, but there's a website that you can go in and type in 100 words, and I would do it 3 times. 100 words from the first of the book, the middle of the book, and the end of the book. And it'll give you an average reading level for that book. All right? So that way you can be finding out the reading level. And again, if you're off a little bit, don't worry, but it's best if you know how to do that. Because as a teacher, you need to know the level of those books. Because you don't want to say, oh, well, here, we're going to do this book as an independent study. You read this by yourself. Well, you know good and well that half of your class will not be able to do it. Okay? Maybe you might instead use it as a read aloud. Or maybe you're going to have it as a literature circle where there's a group of students working together, because that's important to know. For instance, oh, I love this book. Now I did use this one as a read aloud. This is not, this is fiction about some kiddos. It's kind of like the Magic Tree House where they do some traveling in time, and they find themselves at the Alamo. It's really good tie-in, and it's pretty close as far as historically accurate. But again, because there's dialogue and it's fun, it's a fiction text. So anyway, all right, so having a picture of the text is totally optional. I like having the pictures just so that whenever I'm looking at a collection, I know, okay, I need to go find it, I can see it because I'm a visual learner. Reading level, interest level, and here, reading level, let me go back, it's very specific. It's like 3.9 or 2.7. It's a specific level. Interest level could be K4, or it could be 4 to 8, or 3 through 7. If it's an age, it's a grade level range. It's an interest level. Which students would be interested in this text? And so the reading level is specific. Right? It could be 3.0, 2.1, 8.0. It's very specific. And then you need the APA citation of the text. And everything in what we do in education is APA style, not MLA or Chicago or whatever. It's always APA. So go to PurdueOwl.com, and it will help you with APA or get an APA manual. And basically what APA means is last name, initial of the author, the year of publication in parentheses, the title of the text. Usually, all textbooks are italicized. Capitalize the first word only in the title. Capitalize if there's a proper noun in the title, and you capitalize the first word following a colon if a colon is found in the title. So basically, it's just italicized and capitalize the first word. But other than those other little restrictions, kind of like English language, there's all your rules, right? Can't make it just plain. and then put a summary of the text. 75 words summary. So you need to have read the text, skim read, at least read the beginning, middle, and end and get a gist, because I don't think we have enough summertime to read this thick of a text. But I bet you if I read the first chapter or two and then kind of skip over to the middle chapter, I would be able to get a summary. And also, sometimes they have a nice little summary on the back of the book, but do not plagiarize. Do not copy this word for word. Put this in your own words. Okay? And then text features. And as we going along and we talk about text features, is first off, are there any pictures? In this book, there are no pictures. The only thing this particular book has, it has a verso page. It has a memory page. It has, well, it does go live. There is a picture. There's a little sketch of the Alamo itself. But this would be considered a novel, so it doesn't, it's just a novel. There are no other features on it with it. But then if I look at this one over here, my Voices of the Alamo, it has a jacket. Of course, I have a jacket, so that's a text feature. It has a little insert. Then, of course, it also has a verso page. And it has a lot of pictures in it. And it's more a poem written as a poem. Okay? And it has another text feature that it has in here. And let me look and see if I can find it. I thought it had like the whole book itself is a timeline, because if I turn to one page, it says February 10th, 1836. It has February 23rd, 1836. It has March 5th, 1836. But at the beginning, it started out 1821. Actually, at the way beginning with the Native American, it started with 1500. So the text itself is set up as a timeline. So that's a feature. But when you look for text features, it could be that it has a glossary. It could have that it has a reference page or an index, table of contents. If it has pictures with captions, if it has graphs, those are all text features. So you want to kind of thumb through the text and find out what kind of text features does it have. And then here's where you put the strategy. Is what kind of strategy do you have? And when you're looking for these, because remember in our strategy notebook, we are looking for vocabulary, ESL, writing, and study test-taking strategies. And here we want to narrow these down to pre-reading and during reading and after reading strategies. That's how we want to, 3 of each, but 1 per text. So just 1 strategy per text, but you need to determine, are you going to use this text as a pre-reading with a pre-reading strategy? For instance, with I've done this before with my Angel of the Alamo text. Before we even read it, I did anticipation guide. Actually, I did it also with Voices of the Alamo too. Did an anticipation guide, to where that was a pre-reading, and actually anticipation guide can be a pre-reading and an after-reading strategy. But you don't want to use it double whammy this collection, but you can state how you could use it both situations, but only make it count for one or the other. So I'm going to count it as a pre-reading strategy. So where I've created, and when you look up anticipation guide, you'll know what I'm talking about, is maybe I am I made my statements, and I'm going to have my students look at the statements. Are they true or false? And they're going to, it's kind of like a KWL in a sort of way, to where you're going to see what the students are thinking about, how much they know when they pre-read the strategy, and then we'll read it, and then they'll check off if they're right or not. And so that's when it becomes an after-reading strategy. But for this collection, choose it as one or the other, not both. Okay, even though it does function as both. All right. So, and then how are you going to use the text? How are you going to use this within your collection, within your unit? And that's just a very short paragraph. Let me back up a little bit with that strategy. And I know I don't have it written here, but anytime you're pulling something and you're researching, then document the APA. Where did that strategy come from? You know, provide the URL if it was online, provide the textbook if it was Gail Tompkins 50 Strategies text collection or Baca and Baca, whatever author that you're using, and be versatile. I mean, let your authors collect from several sources. Don't just collect from one throughout this whole stuff. Right? Does that make sense? Okay. So technically, it should take at least no less than one page for every collection. So if I have a textbook that I've given the APA and I've given a quick summary, and you could summary in the text features, and on the textbook I don't need to put the strategy and then how you're going to use the textbook. You know, then that would be part of that one. How you're going to use it for this unit and with this collection. Then that would be about a page. Then I would have my other text. My 9 other texts should be 9 more pages, and sometimes 2 per collection. It all depends on you, on maybe the list of the text features and how you're spacing things out. Okay. So anyway, let me stop share for just a minute, and let me go back to. Oops. I hope I didn't lose me here. Go back over here to text very quickly and then find you guys back again. And share my screen again. Sorry about this. I think I fucked this up. But here I have the next item for you to look at will be the text features and description. Now this is another Word document that you can download and even print. Okay. But this is just something to give you more guidance. Okay, it's talking about what a collection of texts are. And I pretty much went over that with you. Oh, I did say, I forgot about journal articles or maybe newspapers. I know at my hometown newspaper called The Picayune that every well, it's one day a week, they come out twice a week, but anyway, they always have Texas Tales as a column. And I always would read those because sometimes it would have something that would be appropriate to be able to share with my students, and that's a text. So I'd cut out the article of what it was talking about. For instance, one of them was talking about Sam Houston and how they buried the twin sisters, which were the 2 cannons at the San Jacinto area. So that wouldn't so much be my Battle of the Alamo, but the Battle of San Jacinto, I would use it, pull that one in there into my collection. So anyway, but it talks about what kind of genres, picture books or maybe picture books or chapter books, historical, realistic fiction, fantasy, things like that, informational books, magazines, things like that, newspapers, okay? And here I'm just kind of giving you another little format just to kind of help you out. And then down below, this is something that I don't need for you to put in your set, but you can. You're more than welcome to copy it and put it in as part of a reference page. But this is just to guide you a little bit, give you some ideas. For instance, maybe social studies is my major one, and then science and math. And so I'm just going to see how can I use it. And fiction, website, poem, article. This is just a template. And then this is helping you out with some of the text features. Maybe there's a table of contents, page numbering, picture captions, cutaway, maps, boldface. Sometimes in some texts they boldface or highlight in yellow some special features, diagrams, glossary. But again, this is not important for you to have in your set. It's just there to help you if you so choose to use it. Okay? So let's see if I can go back to go back over here. And in there, I do have a sample page. Now this is not the best of all sample pages, but again, let me open it up. And And looking at it, again, here's my, it's a fiction chapter book, it's a title, so it's in that collection, in that section. You want to be organized. Picture out, and you can go to Amazon or different places to clip pictures of the text or even scan it. Grade level, 4 to 8. So grade level, interest level is the same in a sort of way. Reading level, 4.0, very specific. Interest level, middle grade, or 4 through 8. That's something that's on middle grade. So you could do both of these if you like, grade level, interest level, but you don't have to. Again, here I put the author, the date of publication, shipbreaker. This is the location of the publisher, New York, New York. Little Brown and Company is the publishing company name. And that's how you do APA. My summary. Then I have my text features. Then I'm using here strategy. Now, this one here, I needed to go in here and put Gail Tompkins, or Tompkins Gale, or G for Gale, and then the rest of the APA citation of where I found this reading log strategy. And so I'm going to talk about how they're going to do this reading log and then how to use that book. Now this came to be one page. Okay. Sometimes, like reading log, some of these strategies, they come, like for instance, anticipation guide, it comes with a black line that you want to create. So go ahead and include that. That will be on the second page. Include what that black line master will look like. And again, the more you're planning, then because the whole goal is not to be wasting your time and say, oh my gosh, in summertime or whenever, I don't have enough time to do all this. But think about this as it's setting you up for when you're doing your clinical teaching and that first year teaching. Well, what if I don't teach that content? Well, maybe you will, or maybe you can pull from it to match what you are teaching. So I'm trying to make this where this is very useful for you, and this is not something that is a check-off list for me. Okay, to do it. All right. So, any questions? All right. I know this has been a while for a bit of a video chat, but let me get you into this. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, email me, and I will respond as quickly as I possibly can. Okay.